Hi everyone.
Take a spin of the wheel.
Well, called Trouble in
Follow your tail with
after
your cold
so
hands on me.
yeah, grab a seat, get a notepad,
I'm a hand in the cat's
book,
eyes.
and hopefully
I'm
listen to it.
hair in the cat's eyes. Our kicks at the chalk under vermilion sky. The playgrounds are empty, the winters is still. I follow you up to the foot of the hill. My life is in the hands of a child, the hands of a child. Put your cold hands on me. Take a spin of the wheel. I'll follow your tail with your cold hands on me. I'm a hair in the cat's eyes. A hair in the cat's eyes. Our kicks at the chalk under vermilion skies. I said I don't want to play those games, but I followed you and now I want to curl up and die. I curl up and die. With your cold hands on me. With the speed of the wheel, I'll follow your tail. Put your cold hands on me. I'm a hair in the cat's eyes. A hair in the cat's eyes. Put your cold hands on me. Take a speed of the wheel. I'll follow your tail with your cold hands on me. I'm a hair in the cat's eyes. Now see our hands eyes.
Hi, Nisio. Nisio is first tonight. Thank you for being here. So usually I skip the intro and stuff, but before or after the intro in the book, there's a list of dates of events recorded in Confessions. So I thought I'd read through this with y'all before we get actually into the reading. So yeah, thanks for being here. I hope this provokes some good, fun Christian discussion. So in 354 AD, on the 13th of November, he was born at Thagist, now Sukharas, in Algeria. He has at least one brother, Navigius, and two sisters whose names are not recorded. So frustrating, women in history not being recorded. Two sisters. His father, Patricius, a small landowner and official of the local government, is still a pagan, but Monica, his mother, is a devout Christian. From 365 to 9, he was at school in Madura, about 20 miles away. From 369 to 70, he spent a year at home while his father saved money to send him to Carthage. Oh, is that what that's from? What's up, Jado? You know about Brett Anderson? I was wondering, yeah. There's so many fun references in Suede songs. Are you a Suede fan? It would be like my first. And if you are, we did read Matt Osmond's book last year. Oh, heck, what's it called? Can't remember now. His novel. Oh, heck, the one about the bird girl. Hi, little cupcake ASMR. It's an interesting name for a salon. Or a saloon. Okay. In 370, his father, Patricius, was converted to Christianity, which I think is kind of interesting, and especially speaking about interfaith marriage. And some, I don't know, it's nice to see that his mother, devout throughout the years, was able to save her husband in the end, or convert him. So it's interesting. It's a nice thing. In 372, his son Attiaeus, or no, it's Adeodatus was born. Then in 375, he started teaching rhetoric at Thagist. From 376 to 83, he was teaching in Carthage. In 383, he went to Rome. In 384, he went to Milan as a professor of rhetoric and met Ambrose. In 385, his mother Monica arrived in Milan. 386 is the persecution of Justina. June, discovery of the bodies of the martyrs Gervasius and Protasius. In July, he talks with Simplicianus. Going to be testing my Latin. I don't know Bobby Nix. I do not know that person. You need to tell me something. That sounds so ominous. Is it about Bobby Nix? Because I don't know them. Oh no, you can see the mess behind me. Ah, guys, don't look. Look over there. Okay. All right, in August, the episode in the garden and Augustine's conversion, he goes to Cassiacum near Como. In March of 387, he returned to Milan. April, Holy Saturday, was the baptism of Augustine, Alypius, and Adeodatus. In autumn, the journey to Ostia, the death of his mother Monica. At this point in the narrative, part of the Confessions ends. After his mother's death, Augustine spent some months in Rome, returning to Thagist in August of 388. In the following year, his son Adeodatus died. By now, Augustine was living a monastic life, devoting himself to study and writing. In 391, he visited Hippo and was persuaded by the bishop Valerius to offer himself for ordination. This meant that he had to leave the community at Thagist, but he was permitted to found a new monastery near Hippo. In 396, he was consecrated assistant bishop of Hippo to aid the aged Valerius, who died a year later. The care of the diocese now fell upon Augustine and was to occupy him fully for the rest of his life. Besides his pastoral work, Augustine was a powerful adversary of all heretics. Oh no. Enemies of the church. Much of his prodigious literary output was devoted to this cause, but the importance of the Confessions, written in 397 through 8, is as a personal document and statement of faith. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we can get into actually reading it. Let me see. Oh, wow. Drama in the... Ashley Cummings. That bitch is so dramatic. I can't even with her. I mean, like... Just a big suck. Attacked Jake Hudson. Who would attack Jake Hudson? That's wild. Lolo Cupcake. Just ignore those people. I don't even know who Bobby is. Okay, that's how unimportant he is. You know who Bobby Nix is?
Yeah.
Jamie says he knows, but I don't know. I don't know who he is. If I don't know who he is, I mean, does he go on Jake's panel? Maybe I've been on with him. I don't remember him. He's not noteworthy. Okay. Oh, dang. It sounds like some drama. I bet Jake didn't enjoy that. Hey, don't distract me with drama. I got to get into Confessions by St. Augustine. All right, so we are in book 1. It looks like a pretty long book, so I think we'll be reading it more than one time because I can only get through so much. But they are broken up into parts. So this is book 1, part 1. Can any praise be worthy of the Lord's majesty? How magnificent his strength, how inscrutable his wisdom. Man is one of your creatures, Lord, and his instinct is to praise you. He bears about him the mark of death, the sign of his own sin, to remind him that you thwart the proud. But still, since he is a part of your creation, he wishes to praise you. The thought of you stirs him so deeply that he cannot be content unless he praises you, because you made us for yourself, and our hearts find no peace until they rest in you. What up, Gregatron? Grant me, Lord, to know and understand whether a man is first to pray to you for help or to praise you, and whether he must know you before he can call you to his aid. If he does not know you, how can he pray to you? For he may call for some other help, mistaking it for yours. Hi. Hold up. No. Jamie's going to get me some water, guys. This is the very perfection of a man to find out his own imperfections. Interesting, Jado. Very interesting. Thank you, thank you. Just what I needed. Or are men to pray to you and learn to know you through their prayers? Only how are they to call upon the Lord until they have learned to believe in him? And how are they to believe in him without a preacher to listen to? Those who look for the Lord will cry out in praise of him, because all who look for him shall find him. And when they find him, they will praise him. I shall look for you, Lord, by praying to you, and as I pray, I shall believe in you. Jamie's listening to Pulp over there. I was like, since when do you listen to Pulp? Oh, did he say that?
What's your deal?
Water is good stuff. It's my favorite drink, to be honest. I mean, what's better than a glass of water? I don't know much. Oh, Yoda approves. That's what I'm talking about.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus. Good choice. I've not read any St. Augustine, guys. It's my first time. All right, let's get back into it. Those who look for the Lord, will cry out in praise of him, because all who look for him shall find him, and when they find him, they will praise him. I shall look for you, Lord, by praying to you, and as I pray, I shall believe in you, Lord. For you, because we have had preachers to tell us about you. It is my faith that calls to you, Lord, the faith which you gave me and made to live in me through the merits of your Son, who became man, and through the ministry of your preacher. How shall I call upon my God for aid? And when the call I make is for my Lord and my God to come into myself, what place is there in me to which my God can come? What place that can receive the God who made heaven and earth? Does this then mean, O Lord my God, that there is in me something fit to contain you? Can even heaven and earth, which you made and in which you made me, contain you? Or since nothing that exists could exist without you, does this mean that whatever exists does, in this sense, contain you? If this is so, since I too exist, why do I ask you to come into me? For I should not be there at all unless in this way you are already present within me. I am not in hell, and yet you are there too, for if I sink down to the world beneath, you are present still. So then, I should be null and void and could not exist at all if you, my God, were not in me. Where is everybody? All the good people are here. All the good people are here, Gregatron. Or is it rather that I should not exist unless I existed in you? For all things find in you their origin, their impulse, the center of their being. This, Lord, is the true answer to my question. But if I exist in you, how can I call upon you to come to me? And where would you come from? For you, my God, have said that you fill heaven and earth, but I cannot go beyond the bounds of heaven and earth so that you may leave them to come to me. Going back to work? Right on. Well, have a good time at work. Do heaven and earth then contain the whole of you, since you fill them? Or when once you have filled them, is some part of you left over because they are too small to hold you? If this is so, when you have filled heaven and earth, does that part of you which remains flow over into some other place? Or is it that you have no need to be contained in anything, because you contain all things in yourself and fill them by reason of the very fact that you contain them? For the things which you fill containing them do not sustain and support you as a water vessel supports the liquid which fills it. Even if they were broken to pieces, you would not flow out of them in a way. And when you pour yourself out over us, you are not drawn down to us, but draw us up to yourself. You are not scattered away, but you gather us together. You fill all things, but do you fill them with your whole self? Or is it that the whole of creation is too small to hold you, and therefore holds only a part of you? And is this same part of you present in all things at once, or do different things contain different parts of you, greater or smaller according to their size? Does this mean that one part of you is greater and another smaller? Or are you present entirely everywhere at once, and no single thing contains the whole of you? Part 4. What then is the God I worship? He can be none but the Lord God himself. For who but the Lord is God? What other refuge can there be except our God? You, my God, are supreme, utmost in goodness, mightiest and all powerful, most merciful and most just. You are the most hidden from us, and yet the most present among us, the most beautiful, and yet the most strong, ever enduring, and yet we cannot comprehend you. You are unchangeable, and yet you change all things. You are never new, never old, and yet all things have new life from you. You are the unseen power that brings decline upon the proud. You are ever active, yet always at rest. You gather all things to yourself, though you suffer no need. You support, you fill, and you protect all things. You create them, nourish them, and bring them to perfection. You seek to make them your own. Though you lack for nothing, you love your creatures, but with a gentle love. You treasure them, but without apprehension. You grieve for wrong, but suffer no pain. You can be angry and yet serene. Your works are varied, but your purpose is one and the same. You welcome all who come to you, though you never lost them. You are never in need, yet are glad to gain. Never covetous, yet you exact a return for your gifts. We give abundantly to you, so that we may deserve a reward. Yet which of us has anything that does not come from you? You repay us what we deserve, and yet you owe nothing to any. You release us from our debts, but you lose nothing thereby. You are my God, my life, my holy delight. But is this enough to say of you? Can any man say enough when he speaks of you? Yet woe betide those who are silent about you, for even those who are most gifted with speech cannot find words to describe you. Whew. Heavy, good stuff so far. Who will grant me, this is part 5, sorry. Who will grant me to rest content in you? To whom shall I turn for the gift of your coming into my heart and filling it to the brim, so that I may forget all the wrong I have done and embrace you alone, my only source of good? Why do you mean so much to me? Help me find words to explain. Why do I mean so much to you that you should command me to love you? And if I fail to love you, you are angry and threaten me with great sorrow, as if not to love you were not sorrow enough in itself. That's true. Have pity on me and help me, O Lord my God. Tell me why you mean so much to me. Whisper in my heart, I am here to save you. Speak so that I may hear your words. My heart has ears ready to listen to you, Lord. Open them wide and whisper in my heart, I am here to save you. I shall hear your voice and make haste to clasp you to myself. Do not hide your face away from me, for I would gladly meet my death to see it, since not to see it would be death indeed. My soul is like a house, small for you to enter, but I pray you to enlarge it. It is in ruins, but I ask you to remake it, and contains much that you will not be pleased to see. This I know and do not hide. But who is it? But who is to rid it of these things? There is no one but you to whom I can say, if I have sinned unwittingly, do you absolve me? Keep me ever your own servant, far from pride. I trust, and trusting I find words to utter. Lord, you know that this is true, for have I not made my transgression known to you? Do you not remit the guilt of my sin? I do not wrangle with you for judgment, for you are truth itself, and I have no wish to delude myself, for fear that my malice should be self-betrayed. No, I do not wrangle with you, for if you, my Lord, will keep record of our iniquities, Master, who has strength to bear it? Part 6. But dust and ashes though I am, let me appeal to your pity, since it is to you in your mercy that I speak, not to a man who would simply laugh at me. Perhaps you too may laugh at me, but you will relent and have pity on me. For all I want to tell you, Lord, is that I do not know where I came from when I was born into this life which leads to death. or should I say this death which leads to life? This much is hidden from me, but although I do not remember it all myself, I know that when I came into the world, all the comforts which your mercy provides were there ready for me. This I was told by my parents, my father, the father who begat me, and the mother who conceived me, the two from whose bodies you formed me in the limits of time. So it was that I was given the comfort of women's milk. But neither my mother nor my nurses filled their breasts of their own accord, for it was you who used them as your law prescribes to give me infants' food, and a share of the riches which you distribute even among the very humblest of all created things. It was also by your gift that I did not wish for more than you gave, and that my nurses gladly passed on to me that which you gave to them. They did this because they loved me in the way that you had ordained, and their love made them anxious to give to me what they had received in plenty from you. For it was to their own good that what was good for me should come to me from them. Though of course it did not come to me from them, but through them, from you. Because you, my God, are the source of all good, and everywhere you preserve me. All this I have learned since then, because all the gifts you have given me, both spiritual and material, proclaim the truth of it. But in those days, all I knew was how to suck, and how to lie still when my body sensed comfort, or cry when it felt pain. Later on, I began to smile as well, first in my sleep, and then when I was awake. Others told me this about myself, and I believe that they said because we see other babies do the same. But I cannot remember it myself. Little by little, I began to realize where I was and to want to make my wishes known to others who might satisfy them. But this I could not do, because my wishes were inside me, while other people were outside, and they had no faculty which could penetrate my mind. So I would toss my arms and legs about and make noises, hoping that such few signs as I could make would show my meaning, though they were quite unlike what they were meant to mime. And if my wishes were not carried out because either because they had not been understood or because what I wanted would have harmed me, I would get cross with my elders, who were not at my beck and call, and with people who were not my servants, simply because they did not attend to my wishes. And I would take my revenge by bursting into tears. By watching babies, I have learnt that this is how they behave, and they quite unconsciously have done more than those who brought me up and knew all about it to convince me that I behaved in just the same way myself. My infancy is long since dead, yet I am still alive. But you, Lord, live forever, and nothing in you dies, because you have existed from before the very beginning of the ages, before anything that could be said to go before, and you are God and Lord of all you have created. In you are the first causes of all things not eternal, the unchangeable origins of all things that suffer change, the everlasting reason of all things that are subject to the passage of time and have no reason in themselves. Have pity then on me, O God, for it is pity that I need. Answer my prayer and tell me whether my infancy followed upon some other stage of life that died before it. Was it the stage of life that I spent in my mother's womb? For I have learned a little about that too, and I have myself seen women who were pregnant. But what came before that? O God, my delight, was I anywhere? Was I anybody? These are questions I must put to you, for I have no one else to answer them. Neither my father nor my mother could tell me, nor could I find out from the experience of other people or from my own memory. Did my questions provoke you to smile at me and bid me simply to acknowledge you and praise you for what I do know? I do acknowledge you, Lord of heaven and earth, and I praise you for my first beginnings, although I cannot remember them. that you have allowed men to discover these things about themselves by watching other babies, and also to learn much from what women have to tell. I know that I was a living person even at that age, and as I came towards the end of infancy, I tried to find signs to convey my feelings to others. Where could such a living creature come from if not from you, O Lord? Can it be that any man has skill to fabricate himself? Or can there be some channel by which we derive our life and our very existence from some other source than you? Surely we can only derive them from our Maker, from you, Lord, to whom living and being are not different things, since infinite life and infinite being are one and the same. For you are infinite and never change. In you, today never comes to an end, and yet our today does come to an end in you, because time as well as everything else exists in you. If it did not, it would have no means of passing. And since your ears never come to an end, for they are simply today, the countless days of our lives and of our forefathers' lives have passed by within your today. From it they have received their due measure of duration and their very existence. And so it will be with all other days which are still to come. But you yourself are eternally the same. In your today, you will make all that is to exist tomorrow and thereafter, and in your today, you have made all that existed yesterday and forever before. Need it concern me if some people cannot understand this? Let them ask what it means, and be glad to ask, that they may content themselves with the question alone, for it is better for them to find you and leave the question unanswered than to find the answer without finding you. Hey, what's up, Zealots Den? What's up, Tar Baby Yoda? Opening up the panel, huh? Should I open up the panel? Maybe after I do some more reading, you know? If y'all want to discuss this, hit 1 in the chat if you want to come up and discuss this, or if it provokes some kind of, I don't know, testimony in you that you want to share. I definitely would love to hear from people. But let me continue reading for a while. Let me get through a bit more of this, because this is going to be a big book. It's not very big, but I know we're going to be reading it for some time. So, okay, let me adjust my legs. They get sore when they're too still. And hello to Gangster Ghost that's joined the chat. Hi. Okay, 7. Hear me, O God. How wicked are the sins of men. Men say this, and you pity them, because you made man, but you did not make sin in him. Who can recall to me the sins I committed as a baby? For in your sight no man is free from sin, not even a child who has lived only one day on earth. Who can show me what my sins were? Some small baby in whom I can see all that I do not remember about myself? What sins, then, did I commit when I was a baby myself? Was it a sin to cry when I wanted to feed at the breast? I am too old now to feed on mother's milk, but if I were to cry for the kind of food suited to my age, others would rightly laugh me to scorn and remonstrate with me. So then, too, I deserved a scolding for what I did, but since I could not have understood the scolding, it would have been unreasonable and most unusual to rebuke me. We root out these faults and discard them as we grow up, and this is proof enough that they are faults, because I have never seen a man purposely throw out the good when he clears away the bad. It can hardly be right for a child, even at that age, to cry for everything, including things which would harm him, to work himself into a tantrum against people older than himself and not required to obey him, and to try his best to strike and hurt others who know better than he does, including his own parents, when they do not give in to him and refuse to pander to whims which would only do him harm. This shows that if babies are innocent, it is not for lack of will to do harm, but for lack of strength. You just finished this book? Dang, what the heck, South to West? Hey, Burning Bushes is here. Hey. Hey. I don't have any ones in the chat, so I guess people don't want me to open up the panel, which is totally fine. But did you guys hit the like button? I see one person on Facebook hit the like button. Only one? I'm sure not many people are watching on Facebook, though. Hey, Golden Rule TV. Good to see you. Oh, excuse me. Whew. Little yawn there, guys. Long day. It's only 6:48. Okay, let's see. I have myself seen jealousy in a baby and know what it means. He was not old enough to talk, but whenever he saw his foster brother at the breast, he would grow pale with envy. This much is common knowledge. Mothers and nurses say that they can work such things out of the system by one means or another. But surely it cannot be called innocence when the milk flows in such abundance from its source. To object to a rival desperately in need and depending for his life on this one form of nourishment. Such faults are not small or unimportant, but we are tender-hearted and bear with them because we know that the child will grow out of them. Well, not everybody grows out of it, but let's see, where was I? It is clear that they are not mere peccadillos, because the same faults are intolerable in older persons. You, O Lord my God, gave me my life and my body when I was born. You gave my body its 5 senses. You furnished it with limbs and gave it proper proportions, and you implanted in it all the instincts necessary for the welfare and safety of a living creature. For these gifts you command me to acknowledge you and praise you and sing in honor of your name. Because you are Almighty God, because you are good, and because I owe you praise for these things. Even if you had done nothing else, no one but you can do these things, because you are the one and the only mold in which all things are cast, and the perfect form which shapes all things, and everything takes its place according to your law. I do not remember the early part of my life, O Lord, but I believe what other people have told me about it, and from watching other babies, I can conclude that I also lived as they do. But true though my conclusions may be, I do not like to think of that period as part of the same life I now lead, because it is dim and forgotten, and in this sense it is no different from the time I spent in my mother's womb. But if I was born in sin and guilt was with me already when my mother conceived me, where, I ask you, Lord, where or when was I, your servant, ever innocent? But I will say no more about that time, for since no trace of it remains in my memory, it need no longer concern me. Part 8. The next stage in my life as I grew up was boyhood, or would it be truer to say that boyhood overtook me and followed upon my infancy? Not that my infancy left me, for if it did, where did it go? All the same, it was no longer there because I ceased to be a baby, unable to talk, and now was a boy with the power of speech. I can remember that time, and later on I realized how I had learned to speak. It was not my elders who showed me the words by some set system of instruction in the way that they taught me to read not long afterwards. But instead I taught myself by using the intelligence which you, my God, gave to me. For when I tried to express my meaning by crying out and making various sounds and movements, so that my wishes should be obeyed, I found that I could not convey all that I meant or make myself understood by everyone whom I wished to understand me. So my memory prompted me, I noticed that people would name some object and then turn towards whatever it was that they had named. I watched them and understood that the sound they made when they wanted to indicate that particular thing was the name which they gave to it, and their actions clearly showed what they meant. For there is a kind of universal language consisting of expressions of the face and eyes, gestures, and tones of voice, which can show whether a person means to ask for something and get it, or refuse it and have nothing to do with it. So, by hearing words arranged in various phrases and constantly repeated, I gradually pieced together what they stood for, and when my tongue had mastered the pronunciation, I began to express my wishes by means of them. In this way, I made my wants known to my family, and they made theirs known to me, and I took a further step into the stormy life of human society, although I was still subject to the authority of my parents and the will of my elders. This is reminding me of the verse about the power of life and death being in the tongue and the power of our words, as he's like describing coming to understand language and how to speak, and he speaks about it in terms of getting his wishes met. I do think that with people's mouths, they often are trying to convey their wishes, don't you? Which is why, like, I don't know, I still get superstitious about people like saying, speaking negativity. I remember when I was like in the new age, for lack of a better word, or like in the occult, I had this mentality of like paranoia about being exposed to like negative thinking or like negative words, because I thought it would manifest like negativity. And I was trying to avoid that, you know, despite living in it, despite seeking it in so many ways. That being said, like this is the thing about the demonic realm and how they twist truth. So there is truth in the fact that like how you think and speak does have an effect on the world around you, you know, and the more bitterness you speak, the worse things will be. But I don't know, you also don't want to be paranoid that every time you're exposed to like something negative that it's going to like ruin your life. You have to like have more faith in that, and also be able to like let go of things too, like, because I also think, you know, when you get too wrapped up in or fearful, like that's just another negative thing coming upon you, right? It's just another thing seizing you and controlling you. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let's continue into part 9. But oh God, my God, I now went through a period of suffering and humiliation. Excuse me, guys. I was told that it was right and proper for me as a boy to pay attention to my teachers so that I should do well at my study of grammar and get on in the world. This was the way to gain the respect of others and win for myself what passes for wealth in this world. So I was sent to school to learn to read. I was too small to understand what purpose it might serve. And yet, if I was idle at my studies, I was beaten for it, because beating was favored by tradition. Countless boys, long since forgotten, had built up this stony path for us to tread, and we were made to pass along it, adding to the toil and sorrow of the sons of Adam. But we found that some men prayed to you, Lord, and we learned from them to do the same, thinking of you in the only way that we could understand, as some great person who could listen to us and help us, even though we could not see you or hear you or touch you. I was still a boy when I first began to pray to you. My help, and refuge, I used to prattle away to you. And though I was small, my devotion was great when I begged you not to let me be beaten at school. Sometimes for my own good you did not grant my prayer, and then my elders and even my parents, who certainly wished me no harm, would laugh at the beating I got. In those days, beatings were my one great bugbear. O Lord, throughout the world men beseech you to preserve them from the rack and the hook and various similar tortures which terrify them. Some people are merely callous, but if a man clings to you with great devotion, how can this piety inspire him to find it in his heart to make light of these tortures, when he loves those who dread them so fearfully? And yet, this was how our parents scoffed at the torments which we suffered at the hands of our masters. For we feared the whip just as much as others fear the rack, and we no less than they begged you to preserve us from it. But we sinned by reading and writing and studying less than was expected of us. We lacked neither memory nor intelligence, because by your will, O Lord, we had as much of both as was sufficient for our years. But we enjoyed playing games and were punished for them by men who played games themselves. However, grown up games are known as business, and even though boys' games are much the same, they are punished for them by their elders. No one pities either the boys or the men, though surely we deserved pity, for I cannot believe that a good judge would approve of the beatings I received as a boy on the ground that my games delayed my progress in studying subjects which would enable me to play a less credible game later in life. Was the master who beat me himself very different from me? If he were worsted by a colleague in some petty argument, he would be convulsed with anger and envy, much more so than I was when a playmate beat me at a game of ball. A positive and negative electrical schematic makes power in this world, though. I suppose that is part of this mortal coil, yeah. That is true. Hmm. What do y'all think? Is this good? Y'all like this? Let's go into part 10. And yet I sinned, O Lord my God, creator and arbiter of all natural things, but arbiter only, not creator of sin. I sinned, O Lord, by disobeying my parents and the masters of whom I have spoken. For whatever purpose they had in mind, later on I might have put to good use all the things which they wanted me to learn. I was disobedient, not because I chose something better than they proposed to me, but simply from the love of the games. For I like to score a fine win at a sport, or to have my ears tickled by the make believe of the stage, which only made them itch more. As time went on, my eyes shone more and more with the same eager curiosity, because I wanted to see the shows and sports which grown-ups enjoyed. The patrons who pay for the production of these shows are held in esteem such as most parents would wish for their children. Yet the same parents willingly allow their children to be flogged if they are distracted by these displays from the studies which are supposed to fit them to grow rich and give the same sort of shows themselves. Look on these things with pity, O Lord, and free us who now call upon you from such delusions. Set free also those who have not yet called upon you, so that they may pray to you and you may free them from this folly. Man, he's still torn up as an old man, as a grown man. I don't know how old he was when he wrote these confessions about getting beat at school. Did any of you get beat at school? It was not a practice when I went to school. It had been driven out. At least it wasn't in my any of my experience. No teachers ever laid any hands on students or paddled them. I did hear about my parents going through it as kids, but I don't know what I think about it. Like a part of me thinks it's like inappropriate, but then I also, I don't know, I feel like society has backslidden so much and just provides no discipline to children. I obviously did get punishments, which were awful. Like, I remember in my school we had the STEP program. So when we were too distracted, we were made to go in the corner, basically. It was like go in the corner, right? Which was embarrassing. And then if you continued to be disruptive or to talk to people, then like you would be put in step two, which means you were had to face the corner. And then like step three, you were sent to the principal's office. And my principal, at least in my elementary school, was so intense. Like I hate it. I went to his office a few times because, you know, I was a normal kid that got into trouble sometimes. But I hated it. Oh, I hated it so much. Um, I don't know. It's tough. Like, was that enough? I told you all about like the fifth grade year I had where my teacher was out most of the year. She was like really late in her career and she constantly was going to these like conferences around the country. She was way more invested in her career as a teacher and like doing all the networking and meeting all the people than actually like teaching our class. She was very detached. But anyway, like I didn't dislike her, but she just wasn't there. So we always had we always had substitutes, and it became the discipline broke down after a while, and like they had to bring in like this like child psychologist lady who was really sweet and understanding, and then like the principal, and then some of the other like people in the school, like teacher aides and like other people like that to wrangle us because we were so out of control. I don't think I was that bad, but I was definitely not as disciplined as I would have been in a normal class with a normal structure with like consistency. So I don't know. I'm thinking about middle school. I got in trouble, I think, a couple times in middle school. I scratched a boy in middle school. I got so angry at him. I don't know why. Like when I think about it now, it's dumb. Sorry, Adam. I'm sorry I scratched you. But he also like I don't know. He was provoking me, and like I don't know. We were friends, but then we stopped being friends. It happens. Oh no, you have a stepladder? No. Oh hey. I don't know why I'm talking about school discipline. Would it have been good to spank some of the kids? I don't know. Maybe it would have been good. I don't know about like it does seem like humiliating though. Like I do hear like these horror stories about like boys having to go up, in front of the class and drop trouser and like, you know, get the paddle. That must have been like super humiliating. I don't know if I would like that. I did not like that. I feel bad that I scratched him. I messed him up like that. And like I got claws to this day. I wonder if he likes girls with nails now. If that was a formative experience or if it put him off girls with nails. I feel bad about it now. Like I hate that I got like I was like I remember that I got ISS for that. So that was like in school suspension where you got sent to like a room in the basement next to like the tech room in the gym with no windows or anything. And actually, it was a really positive experience. He got put in it with me too. Actually, he got in trouble too. So he got like a day of ISS. I got 3 days. So we did kind of make up at that point. We squashed it. You know, the fact that we like got to speak to one another and like just kind of get over it was good. So like, I feel like that happened. It just happens. It's tough. I think like as you're becoming, it's a tough age to like have good boundaries and be friends as boys and girls. Like after that, I kind of like I stopped being friends with boys for a while. Just like kind of focused on my girlfriends, which was probably more appropriate. That was a joke. Oh dang. What's this? St. Augustine was cool, but people took his ideas too far with intellectualism. Oh, people will do that. People will get in their heads about things and, you know, kind of overthink. All right, let's get back into this. Okay. Part 10. And yet I sinned, O Lord my God, creator and arbiter of all natural things, but arbiter only, not creator of sin. I sinned, O Lord, by disobeying my parents and the masters of whom I have spoken. For whatever purpose they had in mind, later on I might have put to good use all the things which they wanted me to learn. I was disobedient, not because I chose something better than they proposed to me, but simply from the love of the games. For I like to score a fine win at sport or to have my ears tickled. Wait, did I already read this? No, I didn't. He's just being a little repetitive. Or to have my ears tickled by the make believe of the stage, which only made them itch the more. As time went on, my eyes shone more and more with the same eager curiosity because I wanted to see the shows and sports which grown ups enjoyed. The patrons of who pay for the production of these shows are held in esteem such as most parents would wish for their children. Yet the same parents willingly allow their children to be flogged if they are distracted by these displays from the studies which are supposed to fit them to grow rich and to give the same sort of shows themselves. I see that I did already read this, but look on these things with pity, O Lord, and free us now who now call upon you from such delusions. Set free also those who have not yet called upon you, so that they may pray to you, and you may free them from this folly. 11. While still a boy, I had been told of the eternal life promised to us by our Lord, who humbled himself and came down amongst us, proud sinners, as a catechumen. I was blessed regularly from birth with the sign of the cross and was seasoned with God's salt. For, O Lord, my mother placed great hope in you. Once as a child, I was taken suddenly ill with a disorder of the stomach and was on the point of death. You were my God, were my guardian even then, and you saw the fervor and strength of my faith as I appealed to the piety of my own mother and to the mother of us all, your church, to give me the baptism of Christ your Son, who is my God and my Master. My earthly mother was deeply anxious because in the pure faith of her heart, she was in greater labor to ensure my eternal salvation than she had been at my birth. Had I not quickly recovered, she would have hastened to see that I was admitted to the sacraments of salvation and washed clean by acknowledging you, Lord Jesus, for the pardon of my sins. So my washing in the waters of baptism was postponed in the surmise that if I continued to live, I should defile myself again with sin, and after baptism the guilt of pollution would be greater and more dangerous. Even at that age I had already believed in you, and so did my mother and the whole household except for my father. And in my heart, he did not gain the better of my mother's piety and prevent me from believing in Christ just because he still disbelieved himself. For she did all that she could to see that you, my God, should be a father to me rather than he. In this, you helped her to turn the scales against her husband, whom she always obeyed, because by obeying him, she obeyed your law. Based. Thereby showing greater virtue than he did. Wow, what do y'all think about that? That's quite a statement. I know you all have some opinions about that. So the whole household, the father was the only non-believer in the house. How interesting situation that must have been. Hey, Chris. Chris is in the chat. Nice. A three-piece ladder. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Let's see. Where was I? I was thinking of something funny. Sorry, guys. I saw Chris and I was thinking about trolling earlier. Sorry. Okay. Where was I? Okay. In my heart, he did not gain the better of my mother's piety and prevent me from believing in Christ just because he still disbelieved himself. For she did all that she could to see that you, my God, should be a father to me rather than he. That's so interesting. Like, how did his mother make it so that God would be his ultimate father and not his own earthly father? That's interesting. I don't know what to make of that. Like, and then he continues. In this, you helped her to turn the scales against her husband, whom she always obeyed, because by obeying him, she obeyed your law, thereby showing greater virtue than he did. So by obeying her man, even when he was wrong, she showed great virtue and exalted God the Father. I have to say, like, my heart's racing a little bit about that. I'm like thinking, oh, what does that mean? I get what it means, but it's also like, I don't know. As a flawed individual, you think, like, how are you going to be as a wife? Like, or how obedient will you be? Like, and what's it all about? It's not really about even your husband. It's about your relationship with God and, like, trusting what he's already provided you with, you know? That's tough. So she made God her father. And so through that, she could make her son's father heavenly, not earthly. Interesting. How do women impart their faith? How do they show their faith to their kids? It's a calling, right? The order of God, and women have this order over children, and what does it look like, and how do they discipline themselves so that they can, you know, be a conduit through which the love of God can flow. Anyway, interesting. I ask you, my God, for if it is your will, I long to know for what purpose was my baptism postponed at that time. Was it for my good that the reins which held me from sin were slackened? Something in my hair. Or is it untrue that they were slackened? If not, why do we continually hear people say, even nowadays, leave him alone and let him do it? He is not yet baptized. Yet when the health of the body is at stake, no one says, let him get worse. He is not yet cured. It would then have been much better if I had been healed at once, and if all that I and my family could do had been done to make sure that once my soul had received its salvation, its safety should be left in your keeping, since its salvation had come from you. This would surely have been the better course, but my mother well knew how many great tides of temptation threatened me before I grew up, and she chose to let them beat upon the as yet unmolded clay rather than upon the finished image which had received the stamp of baptism. I don't agree with him, and that's why I'm a Baptist. Not that I have a problem with people baptizing their infants, but I think that my disagreement is that the tides of temptation are not taken away by the sacrament of baptism. If you baptize a baby, it's not going to be any less susceptible to sin or the flesh because it's been baptized. I don't think that baptism takes away the temptation of the flesh, the propensity to sin. I think that's an ongoing work throughout our lives. I don't think that baptism changes that in people. And maybe that's controversial. I don't agree with him about that. Okay, so I think baptism, I don't know. I'm glad that I chose to be baptized. It was an expression of my will, and I think that was a good thing in my faith journey, that I made a stand of my will to be baptized. I don't think I suffered for it. I don't think that my spirit or my flesh suffered because I wasn't baptized as an infant, Maybe because I was baptized as a child, maybe that did spare me some things. I don't know for sure. It didn't spare me a lot. I mean, I know I went through struggles with various sins, but I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. And if you haven't, hit the like button, subscribe, become a channel member, donate. What else is there to do? Hit the bell so you can be notified every time I go live. Okay. Oh, whoa. Jado is taking a hard stand against circumcision. We know what you're talking about. Should I do I want to do now in the chat. I'm going to get in my own chat, guys. Give me a moment while I get in my own chat on my own computer. All right, let's see. I'm going to do a poll for funsies. Let's see what y'all have to say about this. Vote away, guys. The poll is in the chat. We'll see who wins. And feel free to drop your opinions as well. Oh. Excuse me. All right. Where are we at? I'm over an hour. Am I? I'm not going to go too much longer. Let's read a few more and then I'll call it tonight. Person 12 is here, right on. Thanks for being here, person 12. Good to see you. Okay, part 12. These temptations were thought to be less of a danger in boyhood than in adolescence. But even as a boy, I did not care for lessons and I disliked being forced to study. All the same, I was compelled to learn, and good came to me as a result, although it was not of my own making. For I would not have studied it all if I had not been obliged to do so. And what a person does against his will is not to his own credit, even if what he does is good in itself, nor was the good which came of it due to those who compelled me to study, but to you, my God, for they had not the insight to see that I might put the lessons which they forced me to learn to any other purpose than the satisfaction of a man's insatiable desire for the poverty he calls wealth, and the infamy he knows as fame. But you, who take every hair of our heads into your reckoning, used for my benefit the mistaken ideas of all those who insisted on making me study, and you use the mistake I made myself in not wishing to study as a punishment which I deserve to pay. For I was a great sinner for so small a boy. In this way you turned their faults to my advantage and justly punished me for my own good. For this is what you have ordained, and so it is with us, that every soul that sins brings its own punishment upon itself. Do I know of end times teacher? I don't really get into much like end time stuff. Like, I don't know if I know of any teachers of the end times or anyone called end times teacher. Part 13. Even now I cannot fully understand why the Greek language, which I learned as a child, was so distasteful to me. I loved Latin, not of the elementary lessons, but those which I studied later under teachers of literature. Latin is amazing. The first lessons in Latin were reading, writing, and counting, and they were as much of an irksome imposition as any studies in Greek, but this too was due to the sinfulness and vanity of life, since I was flesh and blood, no better than a breath of wind that passes by and never returns. But these elementary lessons were far more valuable than those which followed, because the subjects were practical. They gave me the power, which I still have, of reading whatever is set before me and writing whatever I wish to write. But in the later lessons, I was obliged to memorize the wanderings of a hero named Aeneas, while in the meantime I failed to remember my own erratic ways. I learned to lament the death of Dido, who killed herself for love, while all the time in the midst of these things I was dying, separated from you, my God, and my life. And I shed no tears for my own plight. What can be more pitiful than an unhappy wretch, unaware of his own sorry state, bewailing the fate of Dido, who died for love of Aeneas, yet shedding no tears for himself as he dies for want of loving you? O God, you are the light of my heart, the bread of my inmost soul, and the power that weds my mind and the thoughts of my heart. But I did not love you. I broke my troth with you and embraced another while applause echoed about me. For to love this world is to break troth with you, yet men applaud and are ashamed to be otherwise. I did not weep over this, but instead I wept for Dido, who surrendered her life to the sword. while I forsook you and surrendered myself to the lowest of your created things. And if I were forbidden to read these books, I was sad not to be able to read the very things that made me sad. Such folly is held to be a higher and more fruitful form of study than learning to read and write. But now, my God, let your voice ring in my soul, and let your truth proclaim to me that it is wrong to think this. Tell me that reading and writing are by far the better study. This must be true, for I would rather forget the wanderings of Aeneas and all that goes with them than how to read and write. It is true that curtains are hung over the entrances to the schools where literature is taught, but they are not so much symbols in honor of mystery as veils concealing error. The schoolmasters need not exclaim at my words, for I no longer go in fear of them now that I confess my soul's desires to you, my God, and gladly blame myself for my evil ways, so that I may enjoy the good ways which you have shown me. Neither those who traffic in literature nor those who buy their wares need exclaim against me. For if I put to them the question whether it is true, as the poet says, that Aeneas once came to Carthage, the less learned will plead ignorance, and the better informed will admit that it is not true. But if I ask how the name Aeneas is spelt, anyone who has learned to read will give me the right answer, based on the agreed convention which fixes the alphabet for all of us. If I next ask them whether a man would lose more by forgetting how to read and write, or by forgetting the fancies dreamed up by the poets, surely everyone who is not out of his wits can see the answer they would give. So it was wrong of me as a boy to prefer empty romances to more valuable studies. I definitely was like that at times. Not always, but I definitely, I don't know. Oh, I got a super chat. Nice. To this day, Terry. To this day. Us. Flowers. Thank you. Thank you, Gregatron. Shout out to Gregatron, helping keep the channel afloat. Much appreciated. Let's see where the poll's at right now. Let's see where the poll's at. 75% of, okay, only 4 people have voted. Come on, guys, get the votes in, please. Yeah, 75% say they approve of circumcision so far. That's interesting. I didn't think, well, I didn't know. I guess I didn't know. I didn't know what y'all would think. Do y'all like having the chat on the side? So I realized there's a button here. Last time I was live, I couldn't figure out how I got that up. Oh, dang. Now I can't seem to get it back up. Oh, guys. Maybe they'll pop up like, well, we'll see. All right. Where was I? In fact, it would be truer to say that I loved the one and hated the other. But in those days, 1 and 1 are 2, 2 and 2 are 4, was a loathsome jingle, while the wooden horse and its crew of soldiers, the burning of Troy, and even the ghost of Creusa made the most, or is it Crusa? I'm not familiar with this story, this mythical story. The ghost of Crusa made a most enchanting dream, futile though I thought it was. Oh, ghost of Cruise. Let's see. The wife of Aeneas. Okay. I guess I'm not really. Okay. Okay. Dang. This is depressing what I'm reading. I don't want to read it out loud. In Greek and Roman mythology, Prosa is the wife of Aeneas and the mother of Ascanius. According to Apollodorus, she is the daughter of Priam and Hecuba. She is described as being present during the sack of Troy, with her often fleeing the city alongside her husband. In Virgil's Aeneid, Creusa is lost in the confusion while their family is trying to escape, leading Aeneas to turn back to look for her. There he is met with her shade, which foretells of his future journey to Hesperia, where he is told he will marry a different woman. Dang. Okay. 14. If this was so, why did I dislike Greek literature, which tells these tales as much as the Greek language itself? Homer, as well as Virgil, was a skillful spinner of yarns, and he is most delightfully imaginative. Nevertheless, as a boy, I found him little to my taste. I suppose that Greek boys think about the same Virgil when they are forced to study him as I was forced to study Homer. There was, of course, the difficulty which is found in learning any foreign language, and this soured the sweetness of the Greek romances, for I understood not a single word, and I was constantly subjected to violent threats and cruel punishments to make me learn. As a baby, of course, I knew no Latin either, but I learned it without fear and fret, simply by keeping my ears open while my nurses fondled me, and everyone laughed and played happily with me. I learned it without being forced by threats of punishment, because it was my own wish to be able to give expression to my thoughts. I could never have done this if I had not learnt a few words, not from schoolmasters, but from people who spoke to me and listened when I delivered to their ears whatever thoughts I had conceived. This clearly shows that we learn better in a free spirit of curiosity than under fear and compulsion. But your law, O God, permits the free flow of curiosity to be stemmed by force. From the schoolmasters came the ordeals of martyrdom. Your law prescribes bitter medicine to retrieve us from the noxious pleasures which cause us to desert you. Grant my, 15. Grant my prayer, O Lord, and do not allow my soul to wilt under the discipline which you prescribe. Let me not tire of thanking you for your mercy in rescuing me from all my wicked ways, so that you may be sweeter to me than all the joys which used to tempt me, so that I may love you most intensely and clasp your hand with all the power of my devotion, so that you may save me from all temptation until the end of my days. You, O Lord, are my King and my God, and in your service I want to use whatever good I learned as a boy. I can speak and write, read and count, and I want these things to be used to serve you, because when I studied other subjects, you checked me and forgave me the sins I committed by taking pleasure in such worthless things. It is true that these studies taught me many useful words, but the same words can be learned by studying something that matters, and this is the safe course for a boy to follow. I think I'm going to end it there with the reading tonight. What do y'all think? Do you like it so far? I like it. I'm enjoying it. These will be some nice nights going into fall, me sitting here reading this. I think it'll be edifying, and I don't know. Looking forward to it, guys. I'm looking forward to it. This was a good first reading from our new book, Confessions by St. Augustine. Well, let's see where the poll is at. I think I'll call it. All right, I'm ending the poll. Only 5 votes. Quiet night tonight with 60% of the chat approves of the practice of circumcision and 40% do not. So make of that what you will and look at each other and I guess figure out what y'all think. I'm not going to leave just yet, Gregatron, but I am going to stop reading. Whew. Well, what did y'all think about his statement that it's better to learn through open curiosity than through force and control? Is that what he said? I thought that was interesting insight he made. Wasn't expecting to look at that. Gregatron, you posted the link to my live. I clicked on the link and it was me. Yeah, watch it, guys. It's good. Good content. Great content, really. The best. The Terry Strange channel. Watch it, guys. Ooh. Ugh. The early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Okay. All right, Gregatron has posted a new link. I'll do a reaction. All right. Clip up baby Hake and baby Joel. They're so little looking. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's share it. I'll share it with the class tonight. The Hake report to this day. Okay, interesting. They're gonna go off. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Your friend may be sick more, perhaps. I'm just speculating because of the different lifestyle after the shutdowns. Because think about the shutdowns, people were not outside. They weren't allowed to go to the gym.
Yeah.
They were not allowed to interact with people.
Yeah.
And when you interact with people, it's like a baby in too sterile of an environment.
Yeah.
A baby's supposed to play out in the dirt and be exposed to germs so that they can build up defense.
Yeah.
But we didn't build up defense because of the quarantines.
Well, this specific friend goes to the gym often, and it's 2023 now, and
Want to just respond to that shortly. I am so glad that I was not one of those hyper paranoid people during the pandemic, and I went out of my way to go outside. And I was grateful because when it first started, I was still working with the public, so I got a lot more exposure, even though there was I don't know, a lot of the God, they had those masks they made us wear and all these practices. We would go to work and we would have to take our temperature and we'd have to fill out a questionnaire at the beginning of every shift. about like potential contact. And then we had a number of times where like I would show up to work and we couldn't even open because somebody had been exposed to COVID. So everybody had to quarantine for like 7 days. And one time it was 14 days. Yeah, crazy, crazy. For a cold. I remember at the start too, I was speaking to one of my coworkers, like, and basically I was being asked like, well, what do you think is the best response to this situation? And I hadn't been like watching TV at all. So I didn't like, and I didn't have any social media at the time because I was like, it was Lent. So I was fasting from social media. I didn't like get on anywhere. So I didn't know about anything happening up until it happened pretty much. Because nobody was really talking about it from day to day. Like nobody mentioned it to me previously. I didn't hear about it until like my friend in New York contacted me and was like freaking out and like, you need to get gloves, you need to get like masks, like, you know, and I was just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It had already like started there and it was so crazy what was going on there. So like I think she was just, but it was crazy what happened here as it swept. Why am I thinking about this? I guess, yeah, I think a lot of people got sicker. I mean, I know my health wasn't improved after that, but I also caught the damn stuff. So, like, but I survived. God pulled me through. He was like, I ain't done with you yet. I, but you know, like, yeah, I do think a lot of people got like very sick. Like the whole purpose was, and like the whole fear, the isolation, the like intensity of the pressure was also like, again, the talk about like, you know, death and destruction and like, you know, fear mongering everywhere wasn't good for people's health either. Like, that whole like, I mean, the mental health stuff, like it was building before that. Like there had been a lot of groundwork made, but it became so mainstream. Like everywhere was started pushing therapy. Like even I like saw a therapist briefly, like when the pandemic started, because my work was offering it for free, and I was like, I did a couple sessions, and I was like, no, this isn't the answer. You know, to my problems. This isn't going to help me sort this out because I'm just like, I mean, I think I don't want to say that completely. Like, I do think that the person I talked to a couple times was helpful, but I don't know. It was not what I needed at that time, really. Like, but it was being pushed everywhere. And then, like, everybody became obsessed with like mental health because everybody was like, stressed out. Like anxiety went through the roof after that. Like, ugh, ugh, just stuff to be rebuked, man. Like they were doing mass, 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 like making people sicker. Think about it. Like think about how many people lost their minds and never recovered after that time. Like now you see these people on social media and they got crazy eyes and they're like crying and freaking out about nothing and like they're uploading it themselves. They don't care how they look. Anyway, sorry, we're going to be watching this. I got off on a tangent. Okay, I hope this is what Gregatron wanted though. He didn't want like me to just watch it and laugh. He probably wanted me to like actually respond. Oh, shout out. Night Owl is here. Night Owl's Night Owl knows, and so did Pinocchio's helicopter. But yeah, not buying into that stuff, still meeting up with people, still going out. Like, I still went out for walks. I rode oh God, though, like it was horrible riding the train. I remember like convincing my friend to catch like the Max train with me because she'd never had before. She just moved to Portland. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go meet you here. She lived near me. So like I went and hung out with her. Like we walked up to like where the Max was and we got on it and we got harassed and like the only people out on the streets were bums. It was spooky. Like I'm so glad that like more people seem to be out when I go out now because like that was really maddening. And the bums were real. The harassment was very intense, I have to say. Like being a female and being out like in public, you get comments sometimes, or you get like guys being weird, right? Or saying weird things. It's just a fact of life. But it was so intense, like in that short period of time. Like this guy came up to my friend and I, and he was like, I don't know. I forget exactly what he said. He asked her if she wanted to smoke crack with him, and she was like, no. And he was like, you're a whore, but you don't smoke crack. And my friend is anything but a whore. So it was just like shocking, you know? She was just like, whoa. Like, and then I had some guy like scream something about like laying pipe and like cackling at me. Like when I walked up to like actually meet up with her, I was like, that was weird. And then we had that other intense experience. Like I was like a little bit away from her when he said that to her, but I heard part of it. I turned around, y'all. And then it was just like, just the intensity of it too. Then when we got on the Max, we rode it down like two stops, just like into the heart of downtown. And, there were these bums that got on, and like one of them, he was like coughing and he was like, it's okay, I'm not sick, I'm just a smoker. So that kind of made the situation better. But like we were feeling like intense. Like we got off the train and like everywhere was empty. There would be like a few shops open, but it would be like few and far between. And we were just trying to like, you know, keep sane. And then I remember like around Thanksgiving, all the people trying to like convince you not to go to Thanksgiving. Like they just wanted y'all to suffer. They just wanted people to suffer, to isolate, to not have any joy or any fellowship, not, you know, interact. It's true. What Hake's saying is true. Like isolating people like that, you do have the effect of like making a situation too sterile, and you want to get some germs. Yeah, we have to look at Hake's mug and Joelle. Look, baby Hake and baby Joelle. Okay, let's continue.
It happened in 2020, and she's saying to this day,
yeah,
she still gets sick.
Yeah.
So I think that for her specifically, I think that that's the case for her because she works out religiously.
Okay.
And yet she still gets sick.
Yeah.
So I'm
To this day.
Right.
Thank you.
But I think that
Kaya from North Carolina, or Kaya N from North Carolina, something, bought 3 coffees. Hake, I shared your show a week or so ago while shopping at the grocery store. There were 2 old white men, presumably Christian, talking about Rumble. So I pulled up your show. and told them all about how you're a white man who is speaking up. It was nice to chat with them and see the light in their eyes when speaking truth. I enjoyed your show with Krishan the Dawn, Krishaun, the Dawn. And I always enjoy every time Mark calls. He may be angry, but he's always got a point that I can agree with. Wish you well and love your show to this day. To this day. To this day.
You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day.
That's right, Deontay. Shout out.
I
Thank
agree.
You,
yeah, Mark is
much appreciated.
Okay.
You accused us of being sore losers, and now I'm accusing you of being sore losers. And you have a right to.
Hold up. I will say I agree with Kaya about that. I do. Mark is intense. Sometimes his calls can be really annoying because he's so emotional and intense. But like, I do agree with him about a point. You know, like every time he calls, I'm like, well, he's right about that. I may not like the way he's saying it, but he's not wrong. Yeah. I mean, hey, I don't trust them either. It's hard. I mean, it's like they can only do so much. And like a lot of them just like, it's not, they can only do so much. Anyway, let's continue.
To be sore losers. Not you.
So
personally.
you said we have a right to reparations. Is that what you said?
No, I said you have a right to be sore losers. You don't get reparations for being a sore loser.
Somebody lost. If somebody lost, meaning that there was a fight. When was there a fight?
All the time in your mind.
No, it ain't no fight.
400 years in.
That's in your mind.
The last time there was a fight was because there's 400 years into this day.
We winning.
To this day.
To this day. Nah, I think 400 years to this day right now, I think we where we want to be at.
Where is Brad? I haven't seen him in a while.
In the direction of where we going is where we want to be at. There's no more N-words being said in the media on TV.
That's a shame. Isn't that a shame? You don't that the freedom of speech is destroyed.
It is a shame. White just lost so much power, and they keep losing more and more. And I think that's just God's plan, or maybe it was terrible to begin with. You know, because morals been twisted by man from the beginning. You know, so now we untwisting the unmoral of men. The unmorality of men is going back to the balance how it should be.
I think it's immorality, I guess.
No, moral.
Whatever.
The real morality.
Whatever.
Spirit drives your morals.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're scared right now. You know you're wrong. You wouldn't be scared if you was wrong. It wasn't wrong. You know what I mean?
To this
the
day.
The more confident you are, the more right you are.
You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this
I don't like you played that over Fred.
To this day.
It's been too long.
All right. Have a good one, hey.
All right. Thank you, Rika.
And if anybody don't understand that, then God be with them. Go look up the history. Go look up the history. Don't everybody believe in Google? Go Google that. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what? I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. He's fighting people. You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day.
I'm sorry. Now go watch the Hake Report. Nice advert. I'm sure Hake appreciates the free press. Let's give that video a like, guys. We're gonna like. I'm already subscribed. Are you subscribed to Greg's clips yet? The dumb bootlicking. Who's he bootlicking? Or boot ticking? Booticking? Bootlicking or boot ticking? What's up, modern gentleman? You're on the Clips train? Good, good. To this day, to this day, to this day. My goodness. Okay, guys, it's time. It's almost 8 o'clock. It's been a hot day. But we had fun. Did you have fun? Hit like if you had fun. Subscribe if you didn't. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you next time. And we'll dig into more of St. Augustine's Confessions. Is this coming up backwards for you guys? Do I need to like fix my camera? Hold up a second while I toggle this. Oops. Wrong button. It's right. It's reading right. Okay. It comes in backwards for me, but it's right for you guys. Make it make sense. It don't. All right. Good night, everybody.